Welcome aboard! You know, more and more people are discovering the fun of boating. Operating a boat opens up whole new worlds for you to enjoy. But along with this fun comes responsibilities. Your first responsibility is to the safety of you and your passengers. You also have a duty to others, both on the water and on shore. Finally, you have an obligation to protect and preserve the environment so future generations can enjoy it. Boating safely and responsibly will help you fully enjoy your time on the water. This video program will show you how to be a safe and courteous boater. You'll see more information in your manual. So while you're watching, feel free to stop and review the manual. Focus on mastering one chapter at a time. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get underway. No matter what type of boat you have, the first step in safe boating is to learn all about your boat. A boat's length determines the equipment you need to comply with federal and state laws. Boat length is measured from the tip of the bow to the stern. That doesn't include an outboard motor or a swim platform, unless the platform is a molded part of a hull. Knowing the type of hull you have and how it handles will help you operate safely. There are two types of boat hulls: displacement hulls and planing hulls. Boats with displacement hulls move through the water by pushing the water aside. They're designed to cut through the water with very little propulsion, but they're limited to lower speeds. Sailboats and cruisers have displacement hulls. This allows them to move smoothly through the water. Boats with planing hulls are designed to glide on top of the water when you apply enough power. These boats may operate like displacement hulls when at rest or moving slowly, but they rise up onto the surface of the water as they move faster. Flat-bottomed and V-bottomed hulls act as planing hulls. Most small power vessels, including personal watercraft, have planing hulls. This allows them to travel rapidly across the water. Now let's take a look at engine types. An outboard is a portable, self-contained package with an engine, gear case, and propeller attached to the transom of the boat. Steering is controlled by a tiller, or steering wheel, that swivels the engine to direct propeller thrust. Inboard engines are four-stroke automotive engines adapted for marine use. They're mounted inside the hull's midsection, or in front of the transom. The engine turns a drive shaft that runs through the bottom of the hull and spins the propeller. Steering is controlled by a rudder. Stern drives are also known as inboard-outboards because they combine the features of inboard and outboard engines. A stern drive's four-stroke engine is mounted inside the boat and attached through the transom to a drive unit. This drive unit resembles the lower section of an outboard. The outdrive, which swivels like an outboard engine, steers the boat. Jet drive engines propel a boat by forcing a jet of water out the back of the boat. Jet boats and personal watercraft have this type of engine. Directing the jet of water steers the boat. In addition to understanding the handling characteristics of your boat, you also need to know the nautical terms that describe its parts. While boats vary greatly in style and shape, the names of their parts stay the same. That also applies to personal watercraft, which the United States Coast Guard includes in the group of inboard boats less than 16 feet long. You may know personal watercraft as jet skis, sea-doos, or wave runners. Personal watercraft are subject to the same regulations as other boats, plus a few more. We'll look at these later. Once you're familiar with boat and boating terminology, you're ready for the next step, preparing to get underway. If you tow your boat on a trailer, boating safety begins before you ever leave home. Here are some key things to remember. Secure your vessel to the trailer with several tie-down straps or safety lines to prevent it from shifting. Never trust the bow winch alone to hold your vessel onto the trailer. Put your engine or drive unit in the raised position and secure it. Make sure your trailer won't get away from you by attaching the safety chains between the trailer and the towing vehicle, crisscrossing them under the tongue. Then check the tire pressure on the trailer and make sure the brake lights are working. And when you're on the road, remember that you'll need more time to stop because of the extra weight. When you launch your boat, be sure to get it ready before you back down the ramp. Transfer all your gear and supplies, then disconnect the trailer lights. Remove all tie-down straps and make sure the drain plug is in place. Leave the trailer winch line attached. Tie a rope to the vessel's bow for more control while you launch. When you're ready to launch, back the boat into the water just enough to cover the lower unit. Set the parking brake on the towing vehicle. Then start the engine. If you've got a problem while the boat is still on the trailer, it's easy to pull forward and fix it. After the engine warms up, back the trailer into the water until the vessel floats. Undo the winch line. Put the boat engine in reverse and back slowly off the trailer. When you load your boat, back the trailer into the water so that about 2/3 of the rollers or bunks are submerged. Set the parking brake on the towing vehicle. Move your vessel onto the trailer close enough to the bow winch to attach the line securely. Then finish pulling the vessel onto the trailer with a winch. Trying to load the boat using engine power can erode sediment and dig holes at the base of the ramp. The eroded sediment creates a mound behind the propeller. Trailer tires can get stuck in these holes, and boats can run aground on the mound. Serious accidents can occur when fueling a boat, so always take precautions. Before you fuel, tie your boat securely to the fuel dock. Ask your passengers to leave the boat. Check that fuel lines, connections, and fuel vents are in good condition. Then turn off anything that might cause a spark, such as the engine, fans, or electrical equipment. If you have portable fuel tanks, remove them from the boat and fill them on the dock. Make sure your fire extinguisher is within reach. When you're pumping fuel, keep the fuel pump nozzle in solid contact with the tank opening to prevent static sparks. Fill the tank slowly to avoid spilling fuel into the boat's bilge or into the water. And don't top off the tank. Leave room for gas to expand. Use an oil-absorbent pad to catch drips or spills. After fueling, put the cap on tightly to keep vapors from escaping. Wipe up any spilled fuel. Dispose of the used paper towels or rags properly when you're back on shore. If you have a power ventilation system, turn it on after you fuel. Leave it on for at least 4 minutes before you start your engine. This eliminates gas vapors in the bilge. Before starting the engine, sniff the bilge and engine compartment for fuel vapors. If you smell gas, continue ventilating until the smell is gone. As an extra precaution, install a gas vapor detection and alarm device. When all is clear, start the engine. The same rules apply to fueling a personal watercraft in the water, but there are some additional considerations. First of all, try to refuel a personal watercraft on land whenever possible. If you must refuel at the marina, don't spill any gas or oil. After you've filled up, give the engine compartment a sniff to check for gas fumes. If you do smell gas fumes, find out where they're coming from and get it fixed immediately. Okay, your boat's fueled and you're ready to load up the gang for a cruise. But do you know how many people your boat can carry safely? Look for a capacity plate near the operator's position or on the transom of the boat. This plate indicates the maximum weight capacity or the maximum number of people that the boat can safely carry. This information is very important because overloading can cause your boat to swamp or capsize. On outboard powerboats, the capacity plate also shows the recommended maximum horsepower of the boat. Your boat's motor should never exceed this rating. Before going out, it's always a good idea to leave a float plan with a relative or friend. Send them an email or instant message that covers the 4 W's: who is going, where you're going, what boat you're in, when you are leaving, as well as when you expect to be back. Okay, now that we're ready to go, let's look at operating your boat. At first glance, operating a powerboat may appear simpler than driving a car. You just apply the gas and cruise, right? No road to follow, no traffic lights, no merging traffic or 4-way stops. But when other boats are nearby or conditions are less than ideal, operating a boat safely becomes more challenging. Before you cast off, keep your boat tied to the dock while you warm up the engine and be sure it's running properly. Make sure everyone on board is seated and wearing a life jacket. Then check the departure area for traffic. Now you're ready to cast off. If there's no wind or current, cast off the bow and stern lines. Shift into forward and slowly accelerate, gradually turning your bow away from the dock. If the wind or current is pushing your boat toward the dock, cast off the stern line. Then move and secure the bow line to a mid-boat position on the dock. Shift into forward and turn the steering wheel hard toward the dock. Increase your speed slowly until the stern's well away from the dock. Then cast off the bow line. Back out slowly until you have room to shift into forward and turn away from the dock. If the wind or current direction is away from the dock, cast off the bow and stern lines. If needed, use a paddle or boat hook to keep the boat clear of the dock. Let the wind or current carry the boat away from the dock. Once you're clear, shift into forward and slowly leave the area. When you return to the dock, getting your boat in safely requires a little more skill than going out. As you approach the dock, reduce speed to the minimum you need to be able to steer. Use reverse to bring the boat to a stop well away from the dock. If you can, make your approach into the wind or current, whichever is stronger. This will give you more control. Have the bow and stern lines ready and put your fenders in place. If there's no wind or current, head in at a narrow angle, about 20 degrees. When you get close enough, have a passenger step on shore and secure the stern and bow line. Never try to stop a moving boat with your arms or legs. If the wind or current is pushing you toward the dock, approach slowly, parallel to the dock. Shift into neutral and let the wind or current carry your boat to the dock. Shift into gear briefly if you need to adjust position. Then secure the stern and bow line. If the wind or current direction is away from the dock, approach slowly at a sharp angle, about 40 degrees. Use reverse to stop when you get close to the dock. Then secure the bow line. Shift into forward briefly and slowly turn the steering wheel hard away from the dock, which swings in the stern. Once you're alongside the dock, secure the stern line. Keep in mind that these procedures are for small, single-engine boats. The procedures for large boats, sailboats, or boats with twin engines will vary. There's always a chance that some miscalculation or mishap will cause an operator to be thrown out of the driver's seat. There have been cases where people have been run over by their own boats. That's because an unmanned boat tends to run in hard, fast circles. So all boats and personal watercraft now have an emergency ignition safety switch. The switch has a lanyard with a clip on the end. You just attach the clip to your wrist or your life jacket. Then if you're thrown out of your seat, the lanyard is pulled from the switch, which cuts off the engine. Remember, the safety switch only works if you do your part, so clip it on. However, there are several other situations where propeller strikes may occur. We'll look at how to avoid them next. If you've ever seen a propeller strike accident, you know that you want to do everything in your power to prevent one. They can be gruesome. Anyone in the water around a boat is a potential victim, and most accidents can be prevented if you follow a few simple safety practices. To start with, never run your engine while passengers are boarding or disembarking. Occasionally, people do slip and fall into the water when going between the boat and dock, and the result could be tragic if your propeller is spinning. Once everyone's on board, make sure they're seated properly so they won't end up in the water by accident. Don't allow anyone to sit on a seat back or on the gunwale, transom, or bow. If you have children on board, assign a responsible adult to watch them at all times. Before you start your engine, make sure it's in neutral to avoid jolting your passengers and sending someone over the transom. Also, if you leave the operator's seat, take the lanyard with you so that no one else can accidentally start the engine. And remember, if you stop to let your passengers enjoy the water, make sure everyone's on board before you start the engine. Well, that takes care of you and your passengers, but you still have to be on the lookout for other people in the water. Operator inattention and carelessness are the primary causes of propeller strikes. Always slow down when you approach busy areas and anchorages. In these areas, you need to be extra alert for swimmers and divers. Learn to recognize warning buoys that mark swimming and other hazardous areas. Steer clear of these locations. And keep an eye out for the red and white diagonally striped or blue and white alpha flags. These let you know that divers are in the water. You need to stay well away from these flags. Okay, now it's time to learn the rules for safe navigation. The first rule of safe navigation is keep a sharp lookout at all times for other boats, as well as water hazards, fishermen, skiers, and others enjoying the water. It's one of the most important navigation rules. The second rule is maintain a safe speed. That's determined by a number of factors, including wind, water conditions, visibility, and surrounding boat traffic. There's also an important concept that you need to understand about the rules of the road out here. On land, we say that one car has the right of way over another, but on the water, there's a slightly different concept. When you encounter another boat, you are either the stand-on vessel or the give-way vessel. The stand-on vessel is the boat or personal watercraft that must maintain its course and speed. The give-way vessel is required to take action to avoid collision by keeping clear of the stand-on vessel. If you are the give-way vessel, don't wait until the last minute. Slow down, turn, or stop as soon as you see you are on course to meet another boat. Now, having said that, it's the responsibility of both boat operators to take action to avoid a collision by being alert and driving defensively. Okay, now let's go out on the lake, and this time think like you're the operator. As we come across various watercraft, see if you know how to respond. But keep in mind that we've exaggerated these scenes just a little bit for the video. In real life, you always want to stay as far away from other boats as possible. Here comes the first one. A boat's cutting across our path from the right. What do? The rule here is that the boat approaching you from the right is the stand-on vessel. It should maintain course and speed. You're the giveaway vessel. You need to slow down and veer to the right, passing behind the boat. We're cruising head-on toward another boat. What do you do now? Well, in this situation, neither boat is the stand-on vessel. Both of you give way and pass on the right. Now we're coming up behind someone. Who's the stand-on boat here? And what's the correct way to pass this boater? The boat you're passing is the stand-on vessel. You may pass on either the right or the left. Be sure to stay out of the other boater's way once you've passed. Now we see a sailboat, and it looks like we're on a collision course. What do? A sailboat under sail is less maneuverable than your powerboat, so it's always the stand-on vessel. This is true whether you're meeting it head-on or are crossing its path. You should slow down or pass behind it. And what about personal watercraft? Do they always have to give way because they're so small and maneuverable? Well, personal watercraft operate under the same rules as motorboats. So in this case, the personal watercraft is on your right, and so it is the stand-on vessel. Give way and let the personal watercraft pass. But because personal watercraft are so maneuverable,